Hello and welcome to the inaugural Top Sim AI Cup. My name is William Lebowski, and let's jump into the qualifying results right away. Analyzing the LMH class, looking at the tip of the spear here, we have Alpine with over a second pace advantage per lap on the rest of the LMH cars. We qualified in second place. Again, over 1 second behind the pole sitter. Although the rest of the field in the LMH category does seem to be pretty close, we are all within the 146s with the 148s. If you remove those outliers, then we are within the 146s and 147s. I feel like that's a pretty solid qualifying result for such a diverse group of cars made up of from such different backgrounds. And then when you also factor in all the variables when it comes into 40 cars on track at the same time trying to qualify, it seemed like a pretty good split from the cars. Jumping into LMP3, some very close results there. Very, very, very close. And just to be as expected, as we have a pretty set spec for that class. Going into the GT Pro category with the GTE cars, you can see 1 through 6 beating the GT3 category, so not any surprises there. Porsche represented very strong on the first 2 rows. Looking now into the GT-AM category with the GT3 cars, the McLarens up front just as well as just like the Porsches in the previous category. And jumping down to the GT4 class, again, some very tight times with the first 2 separated by 0.2 of a second, but anticipating some very good racing coming out of that class. Some great BOP with the exact same identical car. And then we have 4 outlier cars, one of which being a Cadillac DPI. Really disappointing to have one car missing out on, especially with such a small class. It would have been nice to have the full 7 drivers up at the front having qualified, and then we have 3 GTE cars. Could have seen Ferrari represented, breaking up that front row of Porsches. But it is time for the green flag at the first round at Bahrain of the Top Sim AI Cup.
All right, the green flag waves on the inaugural Top Sim AI Cup. Here we are pulling away from the rest of the field with this Alpine. A little bit weird. A little bit of confusion behind us. Got to remember our brakes are very cold, so are our tires, so we're just really not sticking. A little bit of trouble behind us. That Glickenhaus behind us is going to go side by side with the Cadillac. And that Alpine in front of us is kind of disappearing at this point. Let's see, hopefully our car is going to start to warm up as the brakes and the tires come to us. We'll start pulling that car ahead of us in. Since we qualified in such a high position on the front row, I kind of was not expecting that. I kind of out-qualified what my expectation was at this point. Let's kind of not force anything. Let's let that Alpine do what that Alpine's going to do. Let's go as fast as we can. Let's certainly not do any sandbagging here. But let's kind of let this race come to us and develop as it goes and see what happens. We got this Cadillac on our tail, and they're going to be much faster than us in these corners. It's a little bit of an interesting... Ooh, should not have hit up in a 5th gear there. A little bit of an interesting BOP here. The Toyota, Glickenhaus, and Alpine are much, much faster than the Cadillac in a straight line. As you can see, the 3 of us here are all pretty even, but we're gonna eat this guy's lunch here on this opening straight. And it's just because they don't have the top speed, but as you saw him come up and pass us in that sector with all those corners, they make up for it in those twisty sections of the track, and we have a very similar lap time. We really blend in everything said and done lap time wise, and so it really is amazing. And it's actually kind of interesting because it's a simple switch of a gear ratio that you can fix in the setup with 1 click that fixes that top speed issue, which is interesting. If you want to be the only Cadillac on track, and then you can just tune the AI to that car, so you can have the rest of these hypercars. If you want to be the only solo Cadillac, you can tune the rest of the hypercars to match the pace of that faster car, and thusly create something that's a little bit of create something that is imbalanced. Create imbalance, not imbalanced. But it seemed to have worked pretty naturally, so it's a little bit interesting. But definitely have to make sure to stay with those two going forward, because that Alpine is kind of, he's kind of gone at this point. Especially if we're thinking about him in terms of a drafting partner. And these two are going to be interesting because the Glickenhaus is obviously the same capabilities that I do, and we're tuned to each other, the AI wise, since we're in the same car, and that's what most of the field is in power wise. And so we're going to be good on the straights, and then we're going to be pushed. Oh, speaking of push, went way too far into that corner by the Cadillac in the corners. So it's going to be a little bit of an interesting combo, and I'm finding that these Toyotas are actually a little bit slower than they let on. So it's important not to get stuck behind them as we currently are. Let's see, make it through turn one. It's one of the Toyotas, interestingly enough, the 7 car in last place of all of the hypercars, when you would expect that car to be in first place. Did not mean that. But the good news is, with the fuel burning twice as fast and the tires burning 3 times as fast, there will be a pit stop. So that damage, well, it is super annoying, will be livable. Just got to stay in the draft. Stay in the draft. We got a little bit of damage, but it's no problem. Let's check on our fuel. Where's our fuel? Ooh. All right, so we still actually have a lot of fuel left. Why do I keep going up into 5th? But anyway, we have a lot of fuel left, so we're not going to be pitting for repairs for a little while now, so we're just going to have to make do. And now that I'm looking at it, the car is actually driving straight, so hopefully it's one of those little pieces of damage. It's not so bad. It's not going to have much of an impact. We could just keep going. But again, it's important that we at least stay in the draft of this other Glickenhaus in front of us. At the very least. And you can see we're catching up to that Cadillac now. They're going neck and neck down the back straight, but we have that speed advantage as we go through. 2 for 1 on the Cadillac as me and my teammate in the other Scuderia car both go through. But now as we go through a couple of corners, we're going to have that Caddy on our butt. And I'm kind of expecting them to go for a pass coming up to this long straightaway. Man, that Alpine is already off this straightaway. They have just got this race in the bag. Absolute dominance from them so far. But who knows? It's going to be an hour long. Sometimes weird things happen to the AI. Sometimes there are accidents in traffic. Sometimes there are mistakes made. You never know what's going to happen. Covering the inside from that Cadillac. Make him go the long way around, especially going onto these straights where I have the advantage. Our Glickenhaus teammate just hanging out back there. Not exactly sure why he's so far back when we have this speed advantage on these straightaways. Look, you can see if you just barely see him going through turn 1 already, through the apex. Wow, that Alpine has just left us all in the dust. Does not seem to be BOP'd with the rest of the... Oh, wait, yeah, wait. This is... No, different creators. Advanced Simulation creates that Alpine, and URD creates this Toyota and Glickenhaus. Okay, for a second there in my head I was thinking we had the same ones, but anyway, if that BOP continues like this, they might have to be removed going forward in future seasons. But in testing, they were just not that far ahead. Looks like our, spent way too much time looking backwards instead of looking at apexes, but it looks like our Glickenhaus teammate has finally got in front of the slow Cadillac. Man, we can't even see that Alpine anymore, just completely gone. Whoops, driving off track. Looks like we're getting a nice, healthy gap to those cars behind us. Let's see how far away that Alpine has gotten when we get a chance. It's 16 seconds off right now. Let's see, 1.5 to the car behind us, and it looks like that's growing as we go down the straight. All right, they're kind of staying steady at about 1. Oh, wait, no, 2 seconds now. What in the world is happening back there? But anyway, it looks like we're kind of just starting to sit in a league of our own at this point, which is slightly frustrating. I was hoping for some good battles. Looks like first place and second place, me and that Alpine, really just out in front. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth seem like they're having a blast fighting for that final step on the podium. I'm definitely not used to this 3 times tire wear, just because of how, I mean, this is going to sound ridiculous, but it seems like you can literally feel the grip fall off mid-corner. And I don't mean in comparison to where they were on the last lap. I mean, it seems like you can literally feel from the entry to the corner to the exit of the corner, the tires degrade more than when you entered. And that's it's pretty insane. It's a necessary evil in order to keep the pit stop strategies going, because if you were just to keep the tires at the same rate and burn fuel quicker, it wouldn't be as spicy strategy-wise for me, because the AI are the AI, and they're going to post their times no matter what the tire settings are. But for me, it'll be more of a struggle and create more of an interesting pit stop strategy dynamic as the race continues. So for that reason, it's very worth it. And you can see this Glickenhaus does not like it when you enter a corner a little bit off. It just starts skipping like a rock. So I imagine that's going to amplify the more wear on our tires go. Those cars still sitting right behind us. If I was guessing, I'd say that gap got to 2 seconds now. I wonder at what point we're going to start hitting lapped traffic. And I wonder if that's going to bring our friend, the Alpine, in first place back any. Give it more of a glide through here. It's got to be my favorite complex of Bahrain. So much fun as comparison to what's on Sector 1, trying to catch you out this whole time. Looks like our front sides Our front sides, wow, I'm an idiot. Our left sides are really starting to wear as they dip down into the 70s already at this point in the race. Let's see, we're about 15 minutes in, less than that, and we've already got our left sides getting pretty worn. You can feel it there, they did not want to grab, even at such a slow speed corner. What's our fuel looking at again? All right, we got 40. Oh, I was paying way more attention to the fuel counter than I was the apex there, but it looks fine because we got that buffer. We don't really need to worry about it. We got 44 liters, and I think we're using 4.7. Okay, so we got about 5 laps in us. All right, there we go. Starting to see some lapped traffic up ahead. Still got this healthy lead on these cars behind us. All right, catching up to him now. These tires really, really burning off quickly. You can just feel it as you go through these corners. But it looks like we got a nice long line of GT3 cars ahead of us at this point. Make our sector 1 a little bit tricky. Oh, big accident ahead of us. Looks like it's going to just be a 1 car. Although, maybe for a second they held up the rest of my field. All right, let's just focus on watching these cars. Trying to just get by them as smoothly as possible. Are they hugging? Are they taking the insiders to avoid getting sent on? A lot of these cars have some damage on the backs of them, so it sounds like maybe the AI aren't totally playing so fair on each other. Maybe tensions are a little bit tight back here. Made it through there. Another car up ahead of us with some damage to their rear end. Yeah, don't worry about it, bro. Just go right to the apex when I'm there and you got your blue flags. All right, maybe we'll start getting into these GTEs and they'll start being a little bit, maybe they'll have a little bit cleaner cars, a little free of damage. Maybe they'll be a little bit smarter. Looks like we're not done with the GT3s yet. I did intentionally make it so that the GT3s and the GTEs don't have any overlap between cars. Just seems to be a little bit of a better identifier as we go. The GTE field has 10 cars in it. The GT3 field has 13 cars in it. So it looks like we're still at the end of this GT3 field. Still yet to pop into the GTEs. Whoa. That was weird, wasn't it? Yeah, that's for sure our LMH right behind us. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. I was too busy looking behind us. We're gonna have to let them go. Get out of here, Audi. Like, seriously. All right, so now we have a race. It looks like maybe those cars behind this other glick that we have here got caught up in one of those accidents and this guy was able to just sail away. But if we can't get on our horse, we're never going to catch him. The tires must be a little bit warmer than I'm giving them credit for. Trying to just keep ourselves planted, but want to make up some time. I want to get up to that car. We spent so much time just lapping solo this race. It would be nice to race another car, and another car exactly like ours would be fun. All right, let's catch back up to them. Maybe those cars that they're behind will slow them down enough. Oh, they're going into the pits? I feel like we got a couple more laps. Wow, I can't believe we're already seeing diving to the pits. Seems like a little bit early at this point. Let's see, how much time do we have left in the race? Maybe there's a timing issue that I don't know about. Yeah, so it looks like we'll be pitting every 20 minutes. So it looks like if I can get this down to 40, it should keep our gas level, our fuel level, to a point where we are running out with good time to go instead of having to pit right at the end of the race. And maybe, just maybe, there will be a requirement for us to save on one of the final 2 stints. I don't know where that's going to leave us with me and the other Glick now on different pit cycles, and where that's going to leave me with the Alpine and whoever else, so it'll be a little bit interesting. Let's see if we can... Oh wait, we're the leader? Alright, so it looks like we're on a very different pitch strategy than the rest of the field. Looks like those Corvettes almost just took each other out. Yeah, okay, so we have 11 seconds. It's the car behind us. I'm trying to remember if Feltway was the other Toyota. So that car behind us 11 seconds back is a Toyota that hasn't pit yet. And behind them is the other Toyota, as you can tell. And so they haven't pit. So the Toyotas are so far staying out, which leaves one Glickenhaus and one Alpine to have pit. And I don't exactly know what the Cadillacs have done at this point. So it's gonna be, ooh, really sliding out there. It's gonna be interesting, and I think I'm gonna put medium tires on. Because the softs, I feel like, are not cutting the mustard here at the end, and I feel like those mediums would still have a little bit of grit to them. It'd be pretty fast at this point in the race still, even with their wear level. So we're gonna fit the mediums, and who knows, maybe that'll even save us a little bit of time next pit stop. Maybe we can double stint them to the end of the race or something. Behind the GT4 here, so now we're even getting into the GT4s. Within 9 seconds now, the car behind us. So it looks like maybe we're struggling more with traffic than the AI. Now we're gonna go another lap, especially now that we are on different strategies than the AI. Let's really try to maximize that. So we'll do another lap, see where we're at, especially with those Toyotas behind us. That Audi is about to spin itself. Hopefully that doesn't slow down the car behind us at all, trying to catch us. It looks like, whoa. Looks like it did catch them a little bit, yeah, as they now just climb up. It definitely hampered their exit, which is, you know, frustrating. You definitely feel these tires have dropped off a cliff. All right, so this will be our pit stop lap. All right, we We gotta make sure to fill the tank here. Don't know why I didn't prepare this. Oh, in the pit stop strategy menu. All right, 96 is full. Mediums. Mediums. All right, crew's ready for our pit stop. Everything is set, no damage. So I guess that damage that we have is not even impactful at all. So glad we kind of forgot about it. All right, we're good. We're ready for our pit. Let's take a look to see the situation behind us with those Toyotas. It looks like they pit last lap, so we're 1 lap difference. The Toyotas will be fine to make it to the end on 2 more stops, though, of fuel. They will not have a splash and dash issue. I do think that the Alpine pit too early, the first one, and I do think that the other Glickenhaus in front of me probably pit too early too. And I did not think we were going to get slowed down in time there. All right. There we go. So let's see what happens here. We're going to be sitting for a little while now. I think the Alpine is about to go by any second now. Well, any second, like we're not looking at it. So there's the Alpine goes by. Huge gap to Balthazar. I don't know what car Balthazar's in. See, I wonder if these things are going to happen at the same time. Are we looking... Where are we looking? Are we looking at 46 seconds and then being out because they happened at the same time? That would be real nice. Getting ready to turn... Yes, you are. Glad that all happened at the same time. Looks like pit road is busy now with the end of the hypercar field. Ooh, Balthazar goes through. And the beginning of the GTE and GT3 pit stops. Let's see. And we're going to be coming out right at the same time here as 4th place. All right, now it looks like they're 12 seconds behind. They were not as close as I had anticipated. All right, so Lapierre is definitely in the Alpine. And they are 47 seconds off the front. Really interested to see what happens with their pit strategy. Because I think that first pit stop was before 20 minutes, which leads me to believe that they're going to have an extra pit stop. 9 seconds, though, to the car ahead of me. I think I can drag that back. So let's see how this develops. It looks like we're heading into sunset now. Looks like there's going to be another cluster of GTEs or GT3s in front of me. And that'll probably be a trend between the GT4s, the GT3s, and the GTEs and the LMP3s for the rest of the race. I imagine now, considering pit stops and just where we are now in the race, I bet we're probably going to spend a lot of time in traffic now going forward. All right, it looks like we've lost a little bit of time to Balthazar in front of us. I wonder what car Balthazar's in. I really don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to actually see it. Let's get a good of an exit as we can without running into a car there. There we go. Looks like some pit stops happening. See, Balthazar now should be ahead of us going into that corner. A little early on the brakes there. That ended up being a little bit too late anyway. Trying to get everything up to temperature. Between the brakes and these medium tires. I think the medium tires was going to be a good call. Although it does seem like they do change tires and fuel at the same time. So it seems like maybe we could have gotten away with the softs. But I've got a feeling that even swapping mediums every stop is going to be a better feel driving feel than keeping those softs. I don't think the advantage that we're going to have with the softs at the beginning of the stint is going to be worth how they performed at the end of the stint. And I think these mediums, if they perform like I know them to perform in endurance races, it is a little trickier with the time scale adjustment, are really going to be coming into their own right at about that point in the tire life. So it looks like we have actually started to crawl back some time on Balthazar in front of us. A little bit of an incident with the GT4 car there. They probably felt as though we just pushed them to the side, and that's because we did. I don't think that I mean, I don't have any damage that I feel there, so I don't know that I even need to look it up. But 8 seconds to Balthazar. Oh, they must have, we got a couple seconds really quick on them, and they must be up in this gaggle of cars trying to make their way through. Okay, this is really cooking up. Let's get our headlights on, but the stadium lights will be kicking on any minute now. GT4 battles going on here. Try to get away from it as quickly as we can without really playing a key part in it. It looks like we might have fudged it a little bit. Just a wee bit. I think this GT3 had spun out in front of us at one point. Yeah, the mediums are definitely starting to have a nice feel to them. Still holding 8 seconds on us, old Balthazar. Really, really, really want to see what kind of car they're in, and I really want to drag them in. I should see them on the straight. It should be them just going into this next corner ahead of us. Man, Lapierre really just building a huge lead. That car was not this much faster during BOP testing. All right, race is halfway over. Was not expecting that. We've done a half hour, which means we've got 10 minutes of fuel left before we gotta make another pit stop. Balthazar actually now gaining time on us. So maybe time to put our head down and concentrate a little bit. That was a big cut. All right, Balthazar, I see some traffic ahead. I'd like to think I'm better in traffic than you. Let's see what happens here. I don't even know who Balthazar is, but talking trash to them from back here already. I love this waxing and waiting that's happening between me and them. It's giving me so much hope that I can catch up to them, especially with all this traffic. But I keep missing apexes because I'm just getting so into it that I'm over driving. Oh, 6 seconds. Looks like Balthazar slowed huge in front of us, and we have a yellow flag. That is Balthazar facing the wrong way in traffic in the Cadillac that we just went by. Huge mistake by them. All right. Looks like they made a mistake lapping traffic, spun around. And now they're looking about 4 seconds behind us instead of the 8 in front of us. Looks like we're going to get ourselves caught. Whoa, caught in some back marker traffic. Getting a little bit hit here. I think we are going to have to check on the car now. A little bit of damage here. Yeah, tires looking really good. In fact, I might even just hold on to them just because they're nice and worn in and broken in right now. And like I said, they're getting to that point where the medium tire in R-Factor 2 really comes alive. There's an LMP3. engine sounds pretty nice, especially that turbo. Ooh, the Merc getting loose on the way in. And we get loose on the way out. All right, let's check on these gaps again. Oh, we blew the corner there. Which is gonna allow our boy Balthazar in the Cadillac to get a little bit closer to us. As the lights start to come on, we were in a perfect spot to see all those lights just turn on. Flickering on one by one. Love to see it. Love the attention to detail. Although I've gushed already on Bahrain when it released, so we don't need to gush all over again. But if you're not gushing and enjoying it, sim racing, what's the point? What's happened to Balthazar? So now we're growing on them. Balthazar really just getting caught up in traffic. A little frustrating for them, a little frustrating for me, which just means that we're spending less time battling them. All right, there we go. Making it through some lapped traffic, and just judging by what I'm seeing, or rather not seeing ahead of us, I think that was the last little bit of GT traffic for a while now. I think we got a little bit of space in front of us, a minute to Lapierre in front of us. Wow, that's just insane. Oh, Balthazar really fell off now, 12 seconds behind us. Little bit of an interesting, I can't tell if this is just natural multi-class racing and we're just getting natural gaps forming, or if this is a little bit of a BOP issue. I mean, Lapierre might be a little bit of a BOP issue to be a minute out in front the rest of the field. I just think their car is designed from a different studio. It's just a whole different thing, whole different can of worms. It's not one of those things you would expect it to be BOP'd perfectly, but I just thought that I tested it enough to know that it would be okay. Then again, if what I think is going to happen happens, they're going to need an extra pit stop. It's going to create an interesting little dynamic here. But this whole field, this whole hypercar field, is a little bit spread out, not exactly close racing. See Lapierre in the pits right now. As you can see, we're just gaining time on them. 24, so they're 4 minutes early now. And if they're, so let's just say they're 2 minutes early last time, 2 minutes early now, they're going to be 6 minutes early going into the final stop as we take the lead. Yeah, so they're gonna need an extra stop, I think, or they're magically gonna be able to pull off this very cautious pit strategy of pitting very early. But it does look like we caught them right at the end of their pit stop, because it looks like they're out on track, judging by the delta. So this could be heating up to an interesting sort of battle of attrition rather than a battle on track. Whoa. Two Mercs and two Corvettes. Is this one? No, three Mercs and one Corvette. Thank you. I'll just take that inside very much. All right. So if Lapierre really is that fast, with an 8-second gap. Come on, man, you got to hit apexes with that car behind you. But as I was saying, if Lapierre really is as fast as I think he is, I'm a little bit worried that they're going to catch right up to us and go right by us. It would be interesting to see firsthand where that BOP difference lies, if it's their abilities on the straight or their abilities in the corners or just a combination of the both. Really interested to see how that turns out. But right now we're sitting pretty. Let's take a look at our fuel, take a look at the time. Okay, we got a while. Definitely got one more stop left in us, and it is going to be later than I anticipated. I anticipated that we'd be stopping in about 2 minutes. Or, yeah, about 2 minutes, and it looks like we're going to be going much further than that. The rare LMP lapping here. LMP3 lapping, rather, sorry. Keep it tighty, keep it tighty. Don't want to ruin their race. Holding lap here at Bay, still at 7 seconds. Because I don't think Lapierre, I think that was just slightly too early for them to be able to go on that stop. They came out at about 23 minutes. Yeah, I don't think their car can hold enough fuel, especially if they have been actually needing to pit early instead of just pitting early by AI, you know, logic. But Lapierre now gaining 2 seconds on me since I last checked in. Might have some open track. Taking advantage of that open track. Let's see, it looks like we got a little bit of GT traffic up ahead. Hopefully that'll come at a good enough time that will allow us to keep Lapierre at bay. I can see them now on the same straightaway as us, menacingly. Almost had an incident there. A little too much brake, too little brake. Had to modulate as we went through that corner there. I'm just trying to keep it smooth now, because slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I just don't want to make any mistakes. I feel like Lapierre is really only gonna have an easy time getting around us, both on strategy and pace, if I make stupid mistakes. So if I don't make stupid mistakes, I feel like we can hold on to what we got, because you can see them in the timing start waxing and waning. 8 seconds, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds. So, and as we come up to some more GT traffic ahead of us, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to keep that zone alive, sending them yo-yoing like that back and forth. Thankful to be on the mediums right now, because they're definitely playing ball much better than the softs were. So yeah, the mediums are definitely going to be the meta when it comes to this 3 times tire wear. All right, looks like here is going to be some traffic. We're kind of not meeting these cars in a good spot for me, because this is when Lapierre is going to have open track, and I want to keep this gap to its max as possible, and start having it shrink only after he runs into them. Oh man, I had to ask a lot from the car right there to keep it straight. Oh, I thought we were going to rear end that Porsche. Lapierre is getting closer. We're getting due for our pit. I really just want to make sure to pit from the lead, because it should be everything eye for an eye. It should give us the same 7 seconds when I pit, if he has to pit at the end of the race. So I want to try to maximize this bubble as much as I can before I do have to give him the lead. And as seeing that go up to 8 seconds and beyond really makes me happy there. Okay. All right, so right now my goal is just to really drive it for all it's worth for the rest of this tank of fuel, for the rest of this stint. Really just take everything I can from the tires as well, and keep LaPierre behind me. That's my goal, to really put it all down at this point in the race in order to prevent myself from as much of a scramble at the end as I can. So 9 seconds is good at holding them off. That, if you recall, this car was so far ahead of us just not that long ago. All right, let's check on our fuel. All right, 25, we're getting close now. About 5 laps left. Man, I wonder when LaPierre is going to pit now. Oh, let's see how much time in the race is left as well. 16 minutes. So maybe LaPierre is not going to have this extra pit stop that I'm envisioning them having. Maybe they pit early for a strategy reason that I didn't see. But we're going to have one more stop left in us. We might as well try to push it as late in the race at this point as possible. Just because I still can't imagine that LaPierre didn't pit too early that first time. I just got to imagine that they have an extra stop. And if we push it as far as we can, that puts more pressure on them. But if I'm wrong here, I'm putting myself in that situation that we're trying to put them in. So part of me is wanting just to pit next lap, or pit as soon as possible, and not have to worry about it. All right, 15 minutes left in the race. We're gonna need to pit. You know, I think I could try something funny with fuel, but I don't think the amount of time that I'm gonna save is gonna be worth the gamble, because with the advanced or accelerated fuel burn, I'd be really nervous about what happens if I were to gamble wrong. I think the risk is too big. So we're just gonna go for a full tank, because I think I was running about 20 minutes a tank anyway, so it's like not that much extra fuel anyway. That was close. And I think, should we keep the medium tires, or should we just go down to softs for the final 10 minutes? Let's keep the mediums. You know, in fact, yeah. Let's just keep the mediums we have on. You know what? Let's get risky. Let's keep the mediums we have on. And let's lower some fuel. Let's hope the crew gets ready for the pit stop. Oh, are you kidding me? All right, LaPierre should have gone. Yeah, LaPierre is in front of us now. 7 seconds. All right. Balthazar, I think we're going to stay in front of for sure. But this Lapierre situation is dicey because we're battling them for the lead right now, 1 and 2, as we just sit here stopped. 12 minutes to go, though. I think it's possible that they're going to have another pit in their hands. All right, let's get ready to go. All right, Lapierre now getting pretty far ahead. At this point, it would literally have to be a pit stop for them. All right, so we're good on fuel. Obviously, we didn't even need the tires. Wait, that was my fault with the tires. I thought I selected no tires, but anyway. So we have fuel, we have tires. We have everything we need to make it to the end of this race. And now it's just a matter of making sure Lapierre has to pit, because that was what we bet the whole strategy on. And we didn't, if we knew that there was going to be this kind of battle of attrition in terms of strategy, not in terms of racing, it might have been easier to say from the beginning, let's save fuel and really, really, really maximize every single lap that we can get out of that. But that's not the situation we started with. It didn't seem like the battle we were going to be in. But it's a little bit of an interesting BOP happening between the Toyota and the Glickenhaus being relatively BOP together, since they were, released by the same company or same modding group. And then you have the DPI Cadillac, which is slower on the straights but faster in the corners. And then we have this rocket in the Alpine hypercar that seems to be, going around. Nope, just barely holding on to it. That seems to be potentially incredibly thirsty and requires an extra pit stop. So if it can require an extra pit stop every race and it come down, there could be this incredible battle between strategy and pace between the cars in the class. So the final 10 minutes here. Just now, we're just waiting, because Balthazar's 30 seconds behind us. He's in a battle for the podium because there's a car very, very close behind him. But we are just a minute away from the car ahead of us, and they would have to pit, for us to win this race. Okay, I get that they need the lapping cars need to hold their line, but it seems like they're not. It seems like they're taking the inside line and not just holding their lines. All right, a little bit of suspenseful final 10 minutes here as we're just kind of checking off laps, trying to keep it safe, and looking at Lapierre's time on the relative ahead of us, seeing if they dive into the pits. Because with the final 10 minutes after my pit stop, I'm not going to claw back a minute worth of time on track, especially with the tires degrading as they are. But I've said it now millions of times throughout this video, and you guys have even saw when they pit early. It just doesn't make sense that they would be able to pit that early and still hold on to this lead. It's crazy to think that they can be that fast and that efficient in comparison to the rest of their opponents. All right. Yeah, we just gotta, there's not much to report at this stage in the race. Just checking that relative. I'm honestly, my eyes are just glued every time, especially right now. I'm trying to think, okay, a minute up the track, where would they be? When would I expect, where would I need to be on track for them to be right about the entrance for pit road? Where would I expect to see them? start diving in and the relative time start diving down. Man, we're getting sloppy. We're getting sloppy because I'm spending so much time focusing down on this box in the bottom right than driving the car in front of me. I just keep hoping to look over and see all of a sudden it's plummeting down. It's a bit of it's a combination between watching paint just dry, a watched pot not boiling, and too many cooks in the kitchen type of situation happening here. But the only thing we can do now is just keep ourselves ahead of, I was going to say Balthazar, but it looks like Briscoe now. I was going to say Chase Briscoe, but Briscoe, it looks like Balthazar had to take an untimely pit, which just makes me, come on, Lapierre has to pit at some point. There's no way they can just go to the end on that fuel. Time is running out though. They really just took off. I mean, from the green flag dropping, they were ahead of us and pulling away from us, and the entire time they just drove away. I mean, to get a minute lead in an hour is pretty ridiculous. I'll have to look at some sort of BOP adjustment. We're gonna have to check scoreboard soon here for my fuel level and the time left in this race. But I'm starting to lose hope with every corner that we go through. So we're down to 5 minutes left. I've got 60 liters of fuel. I just don't think we're gonna see it. I don't think we're gonna see Lapierre dive into the pits. I think there's just too little time left. Somehow they were able to be crazy fast and more efficient than they were letting on. Pitting early every single step of the way. Oh, there's not Driscoll. Who is it that we were battling? Then that Cadillac we're about to lap. Yeah. Did not expect it to lap one of the 6 other cars in our field. Wonder what happened to them. I guess we did see them sideways or backwards on track at one point in time. Uh-oh, went way wide there. So maybe they got some damage, had a very long pit stop. Looks like, are they gonna let us by? Nope. Jesus, that seemed unnecessary. What's this? They're in the pits. They are in the pits. All right, we got to get through. We got to get through as quickly as possible here. This is insane. This is insane. All right, this is where the race, the final 3 minutes. They're still in the pits. All right, time's still shooting down. Coming up to the penultimate corner. Still in the pits. Oh, baby. No way. The strategy failure on Lapierre with the truly faster car. This is going to heat up to be interesting, I think, as we go. Between their speed advantage, but their pace or strategy disadvantage. Now Lapierre still in the pits behind me, sitting still as we go forward, and under 3 minutes left in this race. Let's see, there's really no incentive to really push at this point. They are pretty far behind us. Lapierre not even going to hold on to second place in the pits, as they are really stopped. I don't know why that they would stop for so long. It just seems like they would, if like 2 minutes left in this race, you would just get a literal splash and get the hell out of the pits. But maybe they're moving now. Yeah, it looks like they might be moving now. But man, that is a lot of time lost. It looks like they came out right behind second place. So they really do, well, truthfully, they deserve first place, but they really do deserve second place, but it looks like they're going to have to battle for it. With a faster car, though, it should be a piece of cake with such a small distance. However, such a small amount of time left in the race. This is going to heat up. All right, Lapierre is 1 second behind them. We have 1 minute left on the clock. This is going to be our final lap. I'm just not even going to worry about this traffic. There's no reason to get involved with them at any difficult points for any reason. I have such a huge gap. I'll just wait for the straight. So we did this by being able to pull out the maximum in our pit strategy. Lapierre lost this by not even maximizing, but just not even optimizing their pit strategy at all, because I've got a feeling they didn't need to pit as early as they had been. There's just no way that they burned fuel that quickly. Although they were a rocket ship, they were so fast. It's very interested to see if they're going to be able to pull out a second place finish here, because they really do deserve it. The clock has run out. The clock has hit 0. This is our final lap. Oh, that McLaren is all beat up on the rear end. Here it is, the final couple corners. Oh, Lapierre is currently in a battle, as you can look on the timings right now, right behind us. It looks like they're trying to make the pass as we speak. 2 tenths off. So there's going to be a huge battle happening behind us. Don't know what's going to happen there, but here we come to the line. Race is over. This is going to be a victory for us in Glickenhaus. There it is. All right. I'm really interested now to go back, look through everything here, see where the BOP failed us, see where the BOP was good to us, and see what this is going to look like and what needs to be changed headed into the next round. But excited to see the leaderboard, see how everything's going to shake out, especially in these other classes as well.
There we have it. Round 1 of the Top Sim AI Cup has been finally completed. Some very interesting strategy calls over the LMH field throughout the race. It was really interesting to see how that race really came together by expressing the differences in the field, and instead of worrying about the little inconsistencies and different balance of performance issues that were probably going to become an issue later in the series, to be frank. But through this first race, it was really interesting to see the Alpine really have to suffer from having to pit more than the rest of the field. But unfortunately, it seems like the DPI cars, although definitely experiencing some bad luck that we saw, did seem to be down a little bit, both on the results. So that doesn't necessarily seem to be too much of an accident. It's going to be a little bit disappointing to see where Cadillac is going forward. That being said, our lap times were not that far off. As you can see, my lap time with my best lap time was a 147 flat with my race winning best lap. You can see the Cadillac DPI's best lap was a 47.6. So it just seems a little bit interesting because it's not that far off, 0.6 seconds. But anyway, moving down into the LMP3 category, not really any surprises here. Everyone's staying very close together, a very, very tight battle. Moving down into the GT Pro and GT Am categories, seeing a little bit interesting final results. As you can see, some of the GT Am drivers sneaking their GT3 cars up into the GT Pro field. You can see that the 4th placed GT car was the 1st placed GT Am car, so a little bit of an interesting shakedown of results there, although the points will be scored differently for the different classes. It is interesting just to see how those cars balance together. And then, of course, in GT4, we have one major outlier, and the rest of those cars are finishing below the GT3 field. Anyway, that was the first round. That was a lot. I do appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much, and we're going to see you in the next round.